Hey, what's up, internet? Decided to make a new video. I was getting ready for work and I was like, fuck it, I have a little bit of free time. Not the same show that I was doing earlier. This is a new show I'm trying out. It's called What the Fuck Happened. Essentially, I'm going to be comparing things that were cool or bad in my childhood or my parents' childhood and comparing them to how they are now. Like, cartoons or action figures or what the fuck ever, just anything, essentially. And it's going to be probably a little similar to the other show, The Time to Complain, just because I'm going to be complaining a lot, because I complain about stuff. It's kind of what I do. But it's kind of, has a nice structured theme. I got the idea from a very good friend of mine, Alex. She's one of the only few people who actually watch my other videos anyway. And, I needed a new idea for a show, and she helped me out with this one, so give it a shot. One of the first things on the list is cartoons. I'm a huge fan of cartoons, have been my entire life. Grew up in the 90s, so basically what I would watch was Courage the Cowardly Dog, SpongeBob, Pokemon, and whatnot. Pokemon's more of an anime, I guess. People don't like to call it a cartoon, but some do, but it's a big fucking deal. But regardless, animated television, So I grew up with those, and some of the shows I used to watch as a kid are admittedly garbage. They're really terrible shows, but I enjoy them because I like watching terrible stuff sometimes. And I've recently become a huge fan of watching really old, like, 80s cartoons, like G.I. Joe and Transformers, just like the 80s, not the newer, shitty remakes. So those are all great, but now we have just this garbage, it's like we're in 2013, you imagine the future, right, future stuff, good stuff, like, especially from the 80s, hell, G.I. Joe, they shot laser guns, and now you've got fucking Phineas and Ferb, or whatever the fuck that shit is, and the My Little Pony, which that's been around forever, but I don't know how long the cartoon has been, whatever, but, you have things like in G.I. Joe, where I get G.I. Joe's based off of action figures, and so is Transformers, I get that, but the point is, it's these super, just American badass guys shooting laser guns at volcanoes and killing these and fighting these dudes who call themselves Cobra and Destro and shit. And there's just it's wonderful, and there's eagles, screeches all over the place, and it's so great. And then Transformers, you have these just giant robots that turn into vehicles and drive around and then fight each other on the highway. It's perfect. It's good, awesome television. It's perfect for a kid because there's bright colors and stupid shit happening on the screen, and it's wonderful. And now you just have this garbage. I'm not even really familiar with the plot of these shows are, but I mean, it's basically just, it's like take a couple of kids, make their faces look retarded because people don't know how to draw, and just give them dumbass names, and there you go. And I think in that shitty Phineas and Ferb show, their faces are the shapes of the first letter of their name. Like the dude Ferb, his head looks like a fucking F for whatever. It's you're making disfigured mutant children for kids to watch and laugh at, and that's just wrong. That's just kind of horrible. It's it's like, how do you go? And I definitely get that in the 80s everybody was kind of coked out and making shows, while really high. They had to have been. I mean, how does Thundercats happen when a sober person doesn't write Thundercats? So. Obviously, I get that those came from kind of a bad thing, but they're wonderful, and they were there, and they're perfect, and you can still follow the formula. Just, you can get all the drugs you want, but just make the show, right? But those are, they're really great. They were really great back then, and now I just can't find any cartoon that's come out recently, except for a lot of my friends. Like, some of my friends don't like it, but Adventure Time. I thoroughly enjoy the show. It's really, really dumb, but of course I liked SpongeBob as a kid, and it's even got the same voice actor from SpongeBob in there as the Ice King, and so, like, I'm really into that. Just how fucking retarded it is. I'm really into dumb, retarded bullshit. I even have an Adventure Time poster. You can't see it in the frame, but yeah, huge fan of that shit. But other than that, it's just cartoons now are fucking garbage. I can't watch it. I can't even watch Pokemon anymore. I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and it's been going on for, I don't even know, since the late 90s. I mean, it's been going on for a while, a long time. It is ridiculous. And they've got, like, 800 Pokemon now, and no, I can't watch that. I can't get into that anymore. I used to watch good cartoons that weren't the best. I think the best ones came out in the 80s, but I watched decent cartoons, as a kid, and they were all over the place. They were pretty good. You couldn't turn on the TV and not find something worth watching. And now you turn it on and you want to kill yourself. It's fucking horrible. Another thing that's really upsetting is action figures. I mean, action figures have always kind of had an innate problem, sort of an issue. The fact that like they're just kind of there as like a marketing thing anyway, and they're not really. I don't know, but like in the 80s and before, well, in the 60s, I think the 60s is when G.I. Joe toys came out, and those were obviously kind of like a marketing ploy, just like, oh, they're this American soldier, believe in America kind of a thing, but they were still cool. Soldiers. What little kid doesn't like soldiers? And then you got Transformers, which is a brilliant toy idea, without the cartoon at all with it yet. It was a robot that turned into a car. It was cool. It was an awesome thing for a kid to play with, even if you didn't watch the show. It was perfect. And even me as a kid, every show I watched, there was a toy for. And it was exactly like the show. Like, if I watched Dragon Ball Z, and every single toy looked exactly like the character, and they moved in pretty similar ways, and you could pretty much reenact an entire show with the toys, and nothing could be out of place. It was actually perfect. Now, I go into Walmart and I look in the toy aisle, and there's nothing but like shitty, fake, bullshit Batman toys and Ninja Turtle things. And it's like I saw a Batman thing where his suit was red and he had this like jet attached to his back almost, and it was this in like an ice gun thing. In what universe did he ever? I know he has gadgets and a bunch of random stuff, but like what the hell? And they do this with all these toys. They have one toy of like Superman holding two like ends of like a bank vault, like he took like the door of a bank vault and like ripped it in half and was holding them, and you could press a button and he would like smash them together. He's not the Hulk, he doesn't do that. He just fights and the lasers. And I don't like Superman that much, but that's, come on, like what, what's, I guess they're just, kids now are retarded and they just need lights and things and buttons to push to be entertained, and they can't just use the goddamn toy and move it themselves. So I guess that's probably part of the problem, but it's really annoying to see that. And I can't, so like, obviously I wouldn't get any action figures now, I'm a fucking adult, but if I had a kid, what the fuck would I get my kid as a toy? What is there? I mean, yes, the kid will probably have fun with the shitty retard toy, but I don't want my kid playing with that shit. I mean, I'd have to get him Legos or something. That's just sad, to your kid to only have Legos. I mean, I guess it kind of builds on creativity a little bit, but that's fucking depressing. But yeah, it's really ridiculous, and I just seeing that stuff. And one of the funniest things is they came out with like Hulk hands like forever ago, the big plushy fucking things, and you would put them on and you would punch, and it would make Hulk sounds like he would be growling or saying something like a catchphrase, and that made sense. That was fine. But then they came out with that Wreck-It Ralph movie, which I love the movie. I love Wreck-It Ralph, don't get me wrong. But they came out with a toy. It was like Wreck-It Ralph hands, and it was the exact same thing. It was the Hulk hands. They felt the same. They looked the same. It's just his hands were white instead of green, and it just had Wreck-It Ralph noises instead of Hulk noises. It was the exact same toy, and it was so fucking retarded. It was so dumb. I can't, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of weird for me being in my 20s to complain about, children's toys and cartoons, but, I mean, they were so good. They were so good back in the day, and now, 2013, we're in the future, guys. We're in the future. We have technology out the ass, and we have the shittiest toys in the world, and the dumbest cartoons, because nobody can write anymore. I don't get how things downgrade over time anymore. How is that even possible? We are 2013. Future, we have phones that you can touch and do things on, and we have fucking hovercrafts. We have hovercrafts. Why the fuck, we can make a hovercraft that nobody's gonna use ever, but we won't make a good fucking toy or a decent cartoon. It's like, I don't get that. I don't get the reason, but yeah. So that's pretty much it for this episode. And it's kind of, it was kind of the complaining episode. I'll probably try to think of something where you know, it's kind of the opposite where I hated it in the past, but I enjoy it now. I'll probably think of something like that at some point. But yeah, big thanks to Alex for the idea for the show. I know she's probably watching this, so hey. Alright, so subscribe if you want to. I don't give a fuck. Tell your friends, because again, 2 people watched the last episode, and I think one of them was me, probably. So, like, 1 person. So, yeah. Tell people. Come on, do that. Alright. Later.